sometimes it's okay to suck. I mean, we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals. All right, Arizona Cardinals. Ah, you had a difficult hand. I'm sorry. You guys had a difficult hand this year. I did say you win 4 games. You won 4 games. The entire season was already in the gutter. I mean, Murray's injury. He's not going to be back for pretty much the season. I mean, yes, it was half the season, but it's pretty much the season when it mattered. You guys are going through quarterback controversy, and not because of who's better. She said who is the least likely to suck. And there was some optimism. You guys beat Dallas, which was worth more in goal than anyone ever could imagine because that was a conference matchup. And for the longest time, there were talks that that's what's going to cause the Dallas Cowboys from potentially winning their division. Good thing Philadelphia was worse. Was the worst bird in the Cardinals. But looking at it whole, Arizona's season was sadly doomed to fail from the get-go. It was doomed to fail. It was just a team that was, I don't know, were they prepared, were they unprepared? They got a new head coach who didn't have a starting quarterback. Murray's been going through lots of, I guess, personal struggles, we can say, with organization and himself. There was wild speculations of a complete, Thanos snap reboot. Tons was going on with the Cardinals. And at the end of the day, they're more than likely probably going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. at wide receiver. Now, it'll be incredibly hilarious if they go with Brock Bowers or someone else when the draft comes. But at the end of the day, the Cardinals were just... they were doomed, man. They were just doomed. They didn't have the starting quarterback in week 1. They beat the Cowboys, so maybe there was some sense of optimism. But the entire Cardinals was just... They remind me of the Cardinals of the old, where they're always meant to be losers. Don't take them too seriously. If they still happen to beat a good team, it's going to be the one bright spot the rest of the time. I think there was really no expectation for the Cardinals to achieve this year, and I think a lot of fans kind of figured it too. So, very disappointing year for Arizona. At least that's one distraction in Arizona anyway. You could be the Coyotes. Now the Utah, whatever their NHL team will be named. But there is some positive. Let's go with your best game. Let's start with a positive. Best game to me is Week 17 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, the worst bird in the NFC. They had expectations. They didn't. Now, with literally nothing to fight for, nothing to play for, and why this game by far shows character when it comes to the Cardinals, is they didn't quit. And it's not like Philadelphia rolled over and died. Philadelphia fought hard in this game because they were fighting for division crown, even though this was part of the Philadelphia collapse towards the end of the season, and eventually their early exit in the playoffs and the loss of division title. Arizona came in to Philadelphia. This game wasn't Arizona, so you can't even play the whole home field advantage, fan give them all. No, this is in Philadelphia, born and raised, and Arizona beat them. In a hard-fought game, mind you. The second half alone is the story. Because the first half, it was 21-6 Philadelphia. And I'm sure everyone probably was thinking, well, we tried, guys. And I'm sure some Dallas Cowboy fans are thinking, you beat us, but you can't beat them? Come on. But then the second half, something happened. I don't know what. But Arizona outscored Philadelphia 29-10. 29-10 in the second half. Not to mention a 15-0 third quarter and then a 14-10 in the fourth. So, I don't know what happened. Sport is a beautiful thing. But there has to be a small part of Philadelphia fans probably thinking, we're struggling with the Cardinals, and we were up 21-6 at halftime. I mean, we literally had a 99 yard interception return. Sadly, Sidney Brown would not want to brag about that too much because he'd be like, I had a 99-yard interception return. That's great. We lost the game, though. What? Yeah, we lost that game. So that interception didn't help at all. It'd be one of those empty calorie points you have. But looking at the stats, Murray had a 3-touchdown performance, 232 yards. Jalen Hurts, surprisingly, had less than 170 yards, but 3 touchdowns. Like I said, that interception helped, or else you guys probably would have lost more than by 4. Connor, I think, was the player of the game with 26 carries, 128 yards, which kind of showed a gaping hole of the Eagles' defense and probably made it more apparent that maybe Philadelphia might be eliminated in the first round. We need to consider that possibility. I mean, just if you were just looking at the win probability, Philadelphia was this game was locked. Even when the game was tied 21-21, Philadelphia still had a 71.4% chance to win. When it was tied, baffled. But when Arizona nearly has 40 minutes of clock time and nearly 450 yards of offense versus your 275, kind of tells how the game went, did it? So Arizona, you didn't quit. You played hard. That's your best game. And I think Arizona fans are happy for it. Now your worst game. Now, I've said before in past videos that I like to focus on the team's best and worst game when they're at full strength if possible. But this performance was so bad as a team that, yes, Murray was not in the lineup, but it was so bad that it has to be the worst game in the sense of not just the Cardinals, but just in NFL football lore. And that matchup for the Cardinals is Week 9 at Cleveland. 27-0, a shutout, which already hurts. 21-0, being shut out 3-0, 6-0. By the way, we've had those this year, is embarrassing. Being shut out in the NFL, it's like one of those weird things where it's like, wow, you guys are grown men, professional athletes, and you can't score a point in the Professional Football League. What does that say about your guys' talent? It's not so much that. It's not so much that Deshaun Watson had a great game for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. No, that's not the point. It's not the point that Amari Cooper went off with 5 receptions, 139 yards and a touchdown, so you probably won your fantasy pick that weekend. No. I'm bracing myself for what I'm about to say. Now, if you Cardinal fans probably know what I'm about to say, and some of you probably eliminated from your mind. Cleveland had 326 yards of offense that game. Arizona Cardinals, and I am not making this up, had 58 yards. 58 yards. I want that to sink in, to realize that in today's NFL, with high-scoring offense galore, there are teams in the National Football League that will play a game and their offense cannot even get 60 yards of offense. Now, it's going to be incredibly sad to address that Clayton Tune, who was from Houston, drafted, was a starting quarterback that game. Now, he was a quarterback that was potentially going to be viewed as a starter with the Murray injury before they put Dobbs in, and then Dobbs went to Minnesota. So, Tune, in his first real game of the year, he was... It's amazing. Look at this. It's amazing. 11 of 20, 58 yards, 2 interceptions. He was also the Cardinals' leading rusher with 5 carries for 28 yards. I'm just letting this sink in. I got a few minutes left of this video. Cardinals, 58 yards of offense. That's why it's the worst game. It's not so much the Cardinals, it's just the worst game for an NFL team in probably this decade. Maybe even 2 decades. I have never seen a game, and if you have, please let me know, where an NFL team got that many yards. I think I think I gotta double check this, but I think when the Lions and the Browns that went winless that entire year, those 0-16 seasons, I have to know what was the lowest yardage they ever accumulated. I have to know. I gotta find that out and see that, to see if that even happened. That the team that went winless has never had stats like this. It's your worst game. Just in football in general. Just NFL in general. Your MVP. This is no disrespect to the Arizona Cardinals players and things, but once again, I'm giving it to the fans. The fans that came, that went to the stadiums, that watched their team play. Those that went to see the Dallas game, that was probably the best weekend of their entire Arizona season. And those that went to Philadelphia, probably another big one. But the fans, you can't. There's no one on this team that I can feel confidently that says, "Oh, they're the MVP." I mean, I can see James Conner. He had 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. I can see the averaging 5 yards a carry. I can see that. But James Conner, to me, was not the focal point of the team. He did his job. But in the whole big picture, to me, it was clearly the fans. The fans that went to the game, win or loss, mainly loss, and watched, knowing that they don't have Murray, their star quarterback is not there, and they still went to the games. They went to see those losses. And then when Murray showed up, he won 3 more games for them, still ending with a 3-6 record probably at the end of it. Wasn't anything too hopeful. It was still back and forth, But Arizona was just a bad team. They got dealt a very, very bad hand when Murray went down. Now, could the Cardinals have been better if Murray was playing? I believe so. I believe they probably could have still 3 or 4 more wins. Probably maybe 7 and 10 at best. But there was no way they were going to compete with the 49ers. I thought Seattle would be better. And the Rams had a rejuvenated career. So it's hard to say anything more than that. But to me, yeah, they were a bad team. They were a bad team this year. And the fans deserved better. But to me, it's not because of the team's fault. It's because it just happened. Injuries of that magnitude is serious, and it takes time. So hopefully they get a good new receiver, that Murray can return to throwing touchdown bombs and making Arizona Cardinals a little bit more intimidating than they were last year. The grade for the Cardinals, I can't give them enough. I'm going to give them a D because they dealt a bad hand. Half their season was gone because of Murray's injury. And when he came in, the season was pretty much already dead in the water. So I'm giving them a D. They did beat Dallas. They did beat Philadelphia. So there were some bright spots that showed they didn't quit. They didn't just roll over and die to much clearly superior teams. So I'm giving them a D, but it was just a bad year. Injuries, quarterback play, everything. This was a bad year. And it sucks to have it done in the first year with a new head coach and a new regime. So it's bad, but I'm not blaming them. And that's the Arizona Cardinals. I do apologize, Cardinal fans. So we go from one bird to another as we continue in the NFC West, and we will go to our next team, to Seattle, in Seattle, as we talk about the Seattle Seahawks and a season that makes you wonder, maybe we were too quick to praise Geno Smith. Maybe. We'll find out. Until then, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you very much for watching.